Today we're going to show you a little bit about how to install the material collection system. Now some of this video is shot a little bit out of order. You know, we have been moving and it's a little bit of a challenge there. You can also see that we've already been using it, but some of the video you're going to see here was earlier, so don't get too confused. The installation process consists of several major steps. The first step is preparing the 3-point hitch and PTO shaft to be used on the tractor. The next step is running the electrical from the battery of the tractor all the way, routing the cables and cords through the tractor all the way to the rear of the tractor and attaching them here. Once we have the MCS attached to the tractor and the electrical ran, then we need to work with the mower deck and get it connected to the suction part of the TKV20. So that'll pretty much cover the install steps. Let's get started. Step 1, connecting the PTO shaft. Initial setup, it says to attach the unit to the tractor's 3-point arms or category 1 quick hitch. So we're going to do that before we even try to do the PTO shaft. The main reason is we need to know how long that PTO shaft needs to be. That's a little bit different on each tractor. So implements like this are shipped with a shaft that needs to be cut. We'll show you that as well. This thing hooks to the 3-point hitch just like any other attachment. And they provided some bushings. Hey, these are official John Deere iMatch bushing kit. If you're going to use a quick hitch, with the exception of a couple of Land Pride quick hitches, I think there's one really low-end John Deere hitch that doesn't require this, but almost every quick hitch requires bushings. So we put that, and that's really one set per attachment. It's kind of an expensive part of the quick hitch, really. So the way these bushings work, they've got a little roll pin. I take that roll pin like that and a pair of pliers because I don't want to hit my hand, whack my hand up. There's 2 holes. One of them, if you line it up, sometimes will leave space, and then the other one hopefully will be tighter. So you want it in as tight as you can get it. And that's what we got here. You hammer that down till it's even, and then it'll be fine on the other side. Here we go. The other part of the quick hitch bushing kit, a lot of times the bushing kits don't come with these. This is really the premier style of bushing kit. You also need to increase the size of this pin to be a category 3 as well. So these two, this is category 1 to category 2, category 2 to category 3. You put them in like that. So that's ready. It's got these little lag screws that hold it down to the pallet. Just a little strap of steel here. So I take out those little lags. Those steel straps come right out. And now when we hook onto it, we should be able to lift it right up. Now we're going to need some front ballast before we actually use this thing, but I think I'll be able to pick it up empty without front ballast. We'll get to that in a little while. Right now we just want to see if we can get it picked up and begin to measure for the PTO cut. Folks, if you don't have a 3-point quick hitch, consider getting one.
We've posted the details about measuring and cutting the PTO shaft in a separate video. Click the card in the top right corner to see that video now if your device supports it, or click the link in the description.
So now that we're finished cutting the PTO, we need to mount it to the unit. We've detached the unit again from the tractor just so we have better access here and so you can see better. Sometimes PTO shafts have the spline type shaft on both ends. This one doesn't. This one's got a round shaft and it's got a square key that you put in there to keep it from turning. Then on this shaft there's a little keyhole, and we'll actually put that key right in there, and that's how we'll keep it from turning. So we put it in, and then we've got a little set screw that will tighten against it. So we'll go on there, put it on as far as we can, make sure we're catching that key, and we did. I'm going to loosen my jam nut. So we've got our set screw tight, and then we're going to tighten our jam nut down to make sure that our set screw doesn't come loose. Okay, so the PTO shaft is ready to go. This is the wiring harness for the TKV-20, sitting over there now. We took it off for a few minutes. We're going to put the wiring harness on, then we'll get back to our PTO and get that put on as well. Now, the way this works is they put these two ring terminals right on the battery. So when I showed you the Artilian diverter kit, we actually went to a fuse panel, and I found a connector that worked pretty well. If you go back and look at that from Napa Auto Parts, that made that work. This one is chosen to go to the battery directly. I think there's going to be a good reason for that coming up here. So we start by taking the two ring connectors, and we want to follow all of these wires right through here. We want this shield all the way back toward the fuse here because we need these wires free at the battery end. So we run through there. So now we need to insert those wires right in there with the other one. Now there's room for that one, but there wouldn't be room for another set of wires, or at least another cover like this. Okay, so that's pulled through. And this piece of the harness is all the way back there, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. Okay, we're going to take these nuts off the battery connectors here. It's hard for me to let you see it while my hand's in there. I'll show you after I remove it. I don't believe there's any washer in there. This is the positive side. So we'll attach the red to the positive side here. We'll just slide it over that. We'll put that nut back on.
Getting great video of your hand.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get good video of something like this. So you may just have to look at it after the fact. Okay, now we're going to work on the negative side. We try not to focus too much on the negative on this channel, but we're doing so now. It looks pretty good to be 4 years old. So it says to put the relay in the corner. Well, I found a screw here that looks like it could hold it, so I'm going to mount it to this screw. There was a hole here provided, and then
The hose is right in the way of seeing where the screw came out of.
yeah, maybe you can have a look, but I want that hose, I think, above there. That's the fuel hose. Try inserting that the other way here. It's not a real easy place to get a screwdriver into. Okay, so it looks like a longer screwdriver actually worked a little bit easier because the handle wasn't as much in the way. There's the fuel pump right there where my index finger is, and this is the wire to the lead to the fuel pump switch. We're going to put our new connectors right in line with that. Now I'm always a little nervous about trying to unhook a 4-year-old or older electrical connector. That plastic may be brittle. There's a little tab on there that needs to be pushed downward. There's the action. Push it right down there. Now if I could just pull the cables apart while I have it pushed down.
Need about 3 hands.
I do, and I don't have room for one in there. But one must remain patient with these old connectors. Okay. Now you can see how our new one's made. If you can see in there, I think you can see in there. Okay, we're going to feed this wire through there. Now, we're going to finish this over here by zip tying this new wire that we've ran to the other wires. It's kind of dark in there, but hopefully you'll get the point. In this case, I really didn't tie it to anything. I just bundled some of those wires together. So I'm going to route that right down here above the fuel filter. And then I want to follow these other wiring grommets. Now we took the floorboard off, just like we did when we installed the Artillean kit. The directions don't indicate to take the floorboard off, but it sure does make this a lot easier to see and deal with. It said to go over this plastic piece here, right? I think you want to. Well, so back it back out again. I think the directions indicated to go right through here.
Oh, I could go on the inside of it.
Okay, yeah, I believe going on the inside might be better. Now, folks, the exact placement of these wires is not critical. What is critical is making sure these wires don't bind up in some of the moving mechanical parts that we see there. We don't want them to wear against things, and we don't want them to get snagged or anything torn like that.
I think I have one talent you don't.
What's that?
Small fingers.
Yeah, you got a lot of talents I don't.
Okay. Now where's she go? Are we gonna zip tie her to this other?
Yeah, we have to be careful though. Those holes, see, are what we use. Yeah, I think you're doing the right thing there.
Zip tie is one of my favorite things too.
Now hold it. You're ended up on that.
I know, but I can't go on the other side. I don't know how.
I think you're doing fine right like that.
Hope if I could see better.
We're going back together now, and we found that it worked a lot better to take all that off. We've had that off so many times that it's not a problem for us anymore. Again, if you haven't seen it, we do take this off during the Artillean diverter kit install. So we show how to do that. Just didn't see any point in showing it again. One other point, this is a 2014 model. The 2017s and 18s are different a little bit in here, and it comes apart differently. Okay, finishing up the electrical. This is the wire that we ran end to end for the tractor. So that's power right there. This is the rest of it. So what we have here is a three-way switch, three-way momentary. It's nothing right now, and if you go one direction it's closed, the other direction it's open. If you have the sensor that tells you when it's full, it comes with a little T connector like this. Now when I first hooked mine up, I hooked it to the wrong side. I hooked it to the output side such that it was not actually wired up until I pressed one of these one direction or other on this button. So that was incorrect. This T needs to be connected directly to the power from the tractor. And then the switch to the dump needs to be after the T. Now, there's two screw holes here. If you intend to be using this thing quite often and have it on your tractor a long time, it's intended to mount right in here. You can put your extra wires right in this little compartment, and the switch mounts right in there. It's intended to screw in right there. My concern is that I probably won't be using the TKV20 near all the time. I mean, probably only 5-10% of the hours that I would put on the tractor. So I didn't want this being torn up during the times I wasn't using it. So I intend to use this connector right here as my disconnect point. And this is all that'll stay on the tractor, and I'll leave the switch and all on the TKV20. Now I need to get a plug for this, and I'm working on that. As soon as I can find one compatible, I'll get it. But that's really all there is to the electrical. The biggest portion is routing that wire from end to end on the tractor. You might ask, well, why does it need to be end to end? Why couldn't we go to the fuse block of the tractor? The biggest reason is the amount of amperage that it takes. There's a 30 amp fuse in this connection. This requires 30 amps for this actuator to dump just during the startup of it. So it's just a momentary 30 amps. And so for that reason, they ran it all the way from the battery to make sure they had plenty of power. To connect the mower deck to the TKV20, there's really only two pieces here. Now my understanding is both of these pieces came from Deere. They are official part numbers. I think they may be similar or the same as used in the Power Flow. Not sure on that, but I believe that's the case. So there's this piece of steel right here that's kind of an adapter bracket that allows you to mount the boot, which is this piece, to the deck. When I first saw this, I was confused. In fact, I thought I had the wrong boot. If you look closely at how this is installed, this steel bracket here is connected at an angle to the boot. The bracket is like this, the boot is at an angle. I'm exaggerating it, okay? But that's really what's going on. And I thought that entire bracket needed to fit inside the boot. I'll show you underneath here, and you can see where this steel bracket cannot fit inside the boot. I had to call the company because I thought sure I had just the wrong part. Turns out this is exactly how it's supposed to work. And with this approach, the boot stays up out of the grass, out of the dirt, so it doesn't drag. So you put this piece of steel in at a little bit of an angle, and you fasten only these top three bolts. That's the only thing that attaches this steel bracket to the boot itself. The bottom side is not attached. The other end of this adapter bracket has two bolts in it, one on each end, and they are specifically made for each mower deck. So right there and right back here. So once I had the boot attached to the bracket here, I just took the whole thing, and these two holes were pre-existing, put it right in there, put it on. It happened so quickly, Christy couldn't get out here with the camera. That's why we don't have video of it actually happening. It was too easy. Another thing I failed to show you was the installation of these wheels. The T-shaped bar and the caster wheels come apart. They're not together, so you have to put those together. It's easy to do so. This thing rolls easily, and these wheels, I think they're an option, but get them. It makes it much easier to store and to deal with. We may be a little out of order here, but I want to show you how easy it is to connect the TKV20 to your tractor each time you want to use it. Just a couple of steps here. We'll talk about some details of this as we go along to the video, but you can see I've already got the caster wheels on. I can roll the machine easily, and I'm holding onto this tube. I've got this clamp here that we're going to clamp onto the mower deck. That's really all there is to it. Let me go around to the back side and give it a push. Okay, we'll connect the PTO shaft now. I can do that while I can back it up slightly. If you put the PTO in the mid position, you can rotate the shaft on the tractor easily without any stress at all. Same is true when you need to connect your mid-mount mower deck. If you'll put the PTO in the rear position, it'll help you to connect the mid-mount mower. The auto connect works better. There, it slid right on. Got the PTO connected. All we need to do is lift the 3-point hitch. Now we just need to take off our caster wheels. This is a lot of work. Beware.
Wow.
I think we could probably take these along with us, you know, put them in, either raise them real high. I'd just as soon leave them here. I just store the pin right here. Now each time you connect here, all you have to do is loosen this pipe clamp here, slide this over, and tighten the pipe clamp. Flip it right on over. There you are. That's all there is to connecting it. Now, during the installation stage, there's a little bit more to that. This much more, to be exact. It actually came with this much tube, and they want you to cut it the appropriate length. I may have mine just a tad too long. I guess I'm always of the opinion to have something a little bit too long, and then you can cut it off some more. But just such that it doesn't bind and it doesn't drag the ground. I think I might do a little better if I cut it a little bit shorter, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to leave it like that. I cut this with a simple utility knife, except for the actual wire. It's a number 14 gauge, looks like, copper wire there, and I had to use some pliers or wire cutters to cut that. It's got a pipe clamp on both ends, easy to deal with. I haven't had any issue. Okay, the machine's ready to go. Now there's no reason why you can't install this yourself. There was no single step to this install that I saw as difficult. There were several steps. The electrical wiring was certainly the most tedious. I use that word, I carefully select that word because it was not complicated. It was just tedious. We chose to take off the floorboard so that we could do a better job, as you saw. And we feel like that was the right approach. But do not let this install intimidate you. In fact, there aren't many jobs on the 1025R that ought to intimidate you. It's a small machine. You can handle it. Having said that, if you still feel uncomfortable installing this or installing other things that you've seen on our channel, don't hesitate to get a professional to help you. We understand that. We're not trying to belittle anyone that chooses not to do it themselves, but we are trying to enable people to be able to do their own work if they feel the least bit confident at all. Take a look at our website. We'll have some more details on the TKV20, as well as many other products and many other projects that we've got discussions about there. TractorTimeWithTim.com. And we'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
I think she's gonna tear it up.
Any dents in this unit, you can see where they came from. All that work just to get the slow-moving
vehicle. Yeah.
Yep.
Beep, beep, beep.